Hello, Emery's Crime here, your fellow crime, thriller and mystery book lover. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have been super lucky and I have had some incredible book mail in 2026 so far, so I thought I'd do a video and show you. It's a mixture of books which I've bought and books which I have very kindly been sent. I don't want this to come across that I'm showing off in any way, shape or form. I've said this in previous book haul videos, but I am incredibly nosy and I love looking at other people's book haul videos and seeing what books they've recently purchased. So hopefully you're here because you're a fellow nosy Parker like myself. I'm going to save the most special book until the very end. Let's get straight to it. I bought Guess Again by Charlie Donnelly. If you've seen previous videos, you'll know that I'm in my Charlie Donnelly era. I'm not going to say too much about this book because it's going to be featuring in next week's video, which is a very exciting vlog. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because it's totally off brand for me, but I bought the next few books in my current palette cleanser obsession, which is the Throne of Glass series. I'm currently halfway through Heir of Fire. I'm not enjoying it as much as books 1 and 2, but apparently after this, the series gets really good. I was very kindly gifted The Shark by Emma Stiles. I don't know too much about this book, however, I know it's about a serial killer, and the serial killer trope is my all-time favourite, so I am very excited. Also, I love the cover, I love the colours, it's beautiful. I'm hoping to fit this in February, or if not, start it early March, so I'll give you more details in my February or March reading wrap-up, so keep an eye out for that. See How They Fall by Rachel Parris has come all the way from New Zealand. The Turner family are super rich, and after the death of the father, Sir Campbell Turner, the 3 brothers, their partners and families all get together for the weekend. However, 2 members of the family are subject to arsenic poisoning, 1 member dies and 1 is in critical condition. Again, as with Heir of Fire, I'm about halfway through this book as well, and I am loving it. I initially thought it was going to be rich people drama, which I love, but it's so much darker than that. I'm honestly flying through, so once I finish, I will include more details about it in my February reading wrap-up. Little Red Death by Alexandra Bennett has just been released in paperback, and I absolutely love the premise of this. I've not read it yet. There is a serial killer on the loose who is taking inspiration from fairy tales. I mean, what an interesting premise for a book. I think that the premise of this would make a fantastic TV series. You know, a series where there's like 6 episodes and each episode takes inspiration from one different fairy tale. I've had this on my radar for ages, but I have been putting it off because the Goodreads reviews are terrible, and I really need to not look at Goodreads reviews before reading a book because it can really influence and sway your decision, and sometimes you may love a book which other people hate. So I need to just get over that and delve in ASAP. I then received The Last Place You Look by Nikki Smith. Nikki Smith writes holiday destination thrillers. I read her previous book, They Had It Coming, and I enjoyed it. This is set in South Africa, which I am so excited by. We are possibly going to South Africa this year as well, so it'll be really interesting to read this. If we go, maybe I'll take it, but I don't think I want to wait that long. I think I want to read this pretty quickly. Also, I thought this was so sweet, but the author wrote a handwritten note and it was personalised. She even mentioned the little man, which I thought was so sweet. Loads of people are also saying that this is her best work so far, so I'm extra excited to read it. Next, we have one of my most anticipated reads of the year, which is The Heirs by Farida Abike Amide. Farida writes YA mystery, dark academia style books. I have read Where Sleeping Girls Lie by her, which I gave 5 stars to, and I also read Ace of Spades, which I also enjoyed and I gave that 4 stars. In the YA genre, she writes about rich people behaving badly, which is a trope I love, and she does it so well. It also has some like dark pages with white writing, which will be interesting, and it kind of breaks up all the monotony of the constant white pages. There's also some cool graphics in here, which I just love. These were a complete and utter surprise and they arrived in the post yesterday, but these are the 6 books in the current Richard and Judy book club. For those of you outside the UK who may not be aware, Richard and Judy are a married couple and they're a TV presenting duo. They have had a book club for years. It used to be part of W.H. Smith, but now it's part of T.G. Jones, so T.G. Jones very kindly sent me these 6 books. Every quarter, so every season, they release 6 books which are part of their book club, and it's normally a mixture of all sorts of genres. Sometimes, like the last one was more thriller heavy, but this is a real mix, and I'll show you in more detail what is included. We have Linda LaPlante, The Scene of a Crime. I don't know much about this apart from it's book 1 in a brand new series that she's doing. I met her at Theeks and Crime Festival a couple of years ago, and all I can say about her is, wow, she is iconic. What a woman. Also included is Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. So this is obviously off-brand for me, but I did read The Flat Share by this author a few years ago, and I thought it was quite sweet, and it was something not too icky for a palate cleanser, so I will give this a go. And I was so excited because also included was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Obviously her work is completely off-brand for me. I think it's like historical fiction, but quite a lot of thriller book lovers such as Michaela from What Michaela Reads love her books, so I have been intrigued by her writing and wanting to try something by her. So now that I've been sent a copy of one of her books, this is a sign. I am a bit intimidated though, because not only is it completely off-brand for me, but look at that writing, so small. Then they sent me Innocent Guilt by Remy Cohn, which I've actually read. So this follows a woman that goes into a police station and she's covered in blood and she's carrying a bat which is also covered in blood, and the blood doesn't belong to her, it belongs to somebody else. And she won't talk to anybody, so it kind of raises a question: is she innocent, is she a victim, or is she guilty of something? This wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't my cup of tea, but I think some people will love it. You get the perspective of a detective and a journalist, which was really interesting, but there was a lot going on and it was just a bit too much for me. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't really my cup of tea, but I think that some people will love it. Also included is The Day I Lost You by Ruth Mancini. I read The Woman on the Ledge by this author and I kind of thought it was average. I did a video about it and I got loads of trolls about it, so I have been hesitant to read something by this author again because I associate it with trolling, but do you know what, I'll give it another go because people say that her writing is really good and the writing's quite big as well, so I will go in with an open mind. Then the final book in the Richard and Judy book club selection is Wolf Hour by Jo Nesbo. I read the first Harry Hole book by this author and it was alright, didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it. But I haven't picked up anything by this author again, and I've been meaning to because everyone raves about him and his style of writing should be the kind of stuff which is my bread and butter. The tagline of this sounds really good as well. The killer has a story, to tell it he needs to get caught, and this wolf wants the world to know he's only just getting started. So this sounds like it's going to be right up my street. The book's also quite floppy too. I love a floppy book. I then got sent The Bone Garden by Simon Beckett. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I hate the cover. It's horrible, but I love the premise of the book. The Bone Garden is an atmospheric and claustrophobic thriller set in the shadows of the Cumbrian Fells, which will chill the reader to their very bones. That is giving like the Whisper Man kind of vibes. I then got Never Look Back and Who Can You Trust by Susan Lewis. So these form part of a series. I think this is book 2 and this is book 3. Susan Lewis has written like over 50 books, which is extremely impressive. And the books of hers which I've read, I've enjoyed. They've been really just easy reads. I didn't actually realise initially that these were books 2 and 3 in a series, so I'm definitely going to pick up book 1 first. They form part of the Christie Ward mysteries. I'm so excited by Holy Boy by Lee Heju. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, because this is a bit different to your classic murder mystery because it is a thriller murder mystery with a K-pop twist. Sometimes thrillers can become a bit samey, a bit cut and paste, but this sounds so unique and I think it's going to be so fun to read and so refreshing because it's just going to be so different to the norm. I'm also obsessed with the vibes of the cover. It's just so fun, and also it like pulls out, which is just really fun. Also, the special edition of this with the spreadsheets is gorgeous. Next we have Greedy by Kali Kazumi. I'm obsessed with the cover. It's pink. I just love it. Thriller books in pink are such a rarity. I think I'm going to go into this one blind, but what I'm going to say is that Chris Carter has said, a terrific writer with an original keep on guessing story, just read it. So okay, Chris Carter, if you say I just need to read it, then I will do so, because I very rarely see Chris Carter blurb books, so that's a sign it must be really good, right? Speaking of pink books, I also got hooked by Azuko Yuzuki, which is the author of Butter. This is translated fiction, and it's an unsettling story about the line between friendship and dangerous obsessions. That sounds brilliant. I've only got 5 more books left to go. If you've made it this far, then thank you ever so much. I honestly appreciate it so, so much. If you're liking what you're seeing but would like to see other styles of content from me, you can also find me on Instagram and on TikTok. Now for the final 5 books. I got The Good Listener by Holly Watt. So this is an anonymous call, a mother desperate for justice. So when I looked at the synopsis of this, it was kind of giving vibes of The Good Samaritan by John Mars. A little bit different, but kind of the same. So once I read it, I will compare the two and let you know. Then we have Killing Me Softly by Christine Watson. This is a medical thriller, and I love, love, love a medical thriller. It's only about 250 pages and it's giving off popcorn thriller vibes. I could be completely mistaken. I'm totally judging it by its length. Also on the back, there's just a list of ways to kill a patient. So interesting. I'm intrigued. Consider me intrigued. Then we have Dark Runes by Rebecca Hannigan. Loads of authors have blurbed this as well. Not that we can necessarily trust them. I've done a whole video about this. I'll link it at the end. This is a debut from this author and it's a thriller. Looking at the quotes from all the authors. I think it's going to be one which is very beautifully well written. I think it's going to be one which is going to have a lot to say, and I think it's going to be, if I enjoy it, the kind of one that's going to stay with you for a long time. So I'm very, very excited to give this a shot. Only 2 books left to go, and the next one is The Night Stairs by Erin Kelly. Obsessed. I've read a couple of books by this author and I've really enjoyed them, and this is a dark academia book from this author. And I love dark academia. Every school has its scandals, this one could be fatal. And again, this has been blurred by loads of my favourite authors, including Lisa Jewell, Gillian McAllister and Jane Fallon. I don't know too much else about it, but purely because it's been written by Erin Kelly, I'm just really, really excited by it. And also some of the chapters are like super short. This has like got letters in, so there might be some mixed media in it as well. And I always think a bit of mixed media breaks up the flow really nicely when reading a book. This is a special edition of The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Cover is breathtaking. Those edges are just so, so special. Vintage Books have released a load of special edition books of some of the classics, including, of course, The Secret Garden. They are so, so beautiful. I honestly want to collect them all because they're just works of art. The Secret Garden was a childhood classic for me, and I just can't believe I've got this beautiful special edition to keep forever. Obviously, I touched upon briefly towards the end about authors blurbing books and can we trust their opinion. I've done a whole vlog on that, so if you'd like to check it out, I will link it here. Have you had a chance to check out my latest video? If not, I will link that here. Thank you ever so much for taking your time to watch this video. Have you had any exciting book mail recently? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you. Bye.